The UFC 205-pound weight division is without a champion. So, Glover Teixeira will be stepping up to take on the rising contender Jamahal Hill at UFC 283. And both men are considered to be two of the best finishers in the light heavyweight division.
He's gonna get stopped. He's done. Oh, wow. Bader just now. Down goes Bader.
So this fight promises some epic fireworks. But without further ado, let's take a deeper look at the light heavyweight title fight between Jamahal Hill and Glover Teixeira. Glover Teixeira. The former light heavyweight champ of the world, Glover Teixeira, will enter the contest with a 33-8 record. His 33 wins include 18 via KO or TKO and 10 submission victories. So Glover is definitely the type of fighter that looks for the finish. In fact, he has the most finishes in UFC light heavyweight history with 13. This also includes the most submission wins by a UFC light heavyweight too. Now at age 43, Glover has more than one fight on his hands. Of course, he'll be taking on Jamahal Hill for the vacant light heavyweight title, but he is also fighting Father Time. It's often said in sports that Father Time is undefeated. So far, Glover has defied the odds, especially at UFC 267, when he became the champion at the tender age of 42. To put that into perspective, Glover began his MMA journey in 2002 and wouldn't get his hands on the biggest prize until 2021.
And new light heavyweight champion of the world!
Talk about dedication. A secret to his longevity has been his ever-evolving fighting style. Glover has always had a good ground game, but earlier in his career he loved to stand up and box. And it's expected seeing that his favorite fighter of all time is Mike Tyson. So no wonder Glover has a mean hook, which might play a big role in the upcoming fight. So stay tuned for more on Glover's striking. But as he has aged, Glover has incorporated more of a ground attack to his style, and that paid dividends and was a big factor in submitting Jan Blachowicz for the title. More on Glover's incredible grappling skills in a little bit, as another secret to Glover's longevity is his IQ. Most recently, many MMA fans would have seen Glover in Alex Pereira's corner as he dethroned Israel Adesanya. A big reason for how Pereira pulled off that upset was Glover's coaching and a fiery speech that motivated the Brazilian juggernaut to beat Adesanya. Glover's IQ might end up playing a big role in the fight, especially seeing that he is taking on a younger up-and-coming and less experienced fighter in Jamahal Hill. Jamahal Hill, nicknamed Sweet Dreams. Jamahal Hill is riding a 3-fight KO streak, which includes the likes of Jimmy Crute, whom he dispatched in just 48 seconds. Johnny Walker, who didn't last 3 minutes with Hill,
Like this, you gotta dodge the crazy punch.
Oh my gosh!
and Thiago Santos, who pushed Hill to his limit but ended up succumbing to Sweet Dreams' power in the 4th round. More on Hill's incredible KO power soon. In his 11 pro fights, Hill has only lost once, while 7 of his 11 wins have come via KO. He was previously booked to fight Anthony Smith, which was going to be a step up in competition. But plans changed, and now Hill will find himself in a UFC title fight against Glover Teixeira. Talk about being thrown into the fire. But often these types of sink-or-swim moments can bring the best out of a person, and Hill seems like the type of fighter to swim. Regarded as one of the better athletes in the light heavyweight division, Hill often has the speed and power advantage on his side. Not to mention his 79-inch reach and his southpaw style. Put all of this together and you have a uniquely dangerous fighter on your hands. However, he is faced with his toughest challenge to date, so we'll be learning all about Sweet Dreams as he takes on the veteran Glover Teixeira. So let's break this fight down some more. Striking. Both Jamahal Hill and Glover Teixeira are well versed in the striking department. As mentioned before, Hill got his nickname Sweet Dreams from always knocking out his opponents, while Glover possesses some of the best boxing in MMA and has 18 KO wins to his name. That's more KO wins than Hill has fights. But as Glover has aged, both his striking and his striking defense have faltered a little. Currently, Glover lands 3.8 strikes per minute, which is higher than the UFC average. But unfortunately for him, he absorbs nearly 4 strikes per minute. So essentially, he takes one to give one, which is less than ideal to say the least. while Hill is essentially on the other end of the spectrum. He might absorb 3.5 strikes per minute, but he lands almost double that on his opponents with 6.46 strikes landed per minute. The nearly 6.5 strikes landed per minute is one of the best in the UFC. What definitely helps Hill in the landing department is his 79-inch reach advantage, and when he faces off with Glover, he will have a 3-inch reach advantage over him. On top of that, Hill often just needs one punch to be true to his Sweet Dreams nickname. While Glover's striking has power, it often comes in bunches to do the real damage. So along with the speed and athleticism advantage on Hill's side, we're going to give the striking edge to Sweet Dreams. But that is just one part of MMA. There is a whole other world, so stay tuned to see who has an advantage there. Grappling. Jamahal Hill won't be only bringing his one-punch KO power to the Octagon, but also his blue belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. However, he hasn't needed to put that grappling ability to much use in the Octagon, as he has never landed a takedown, nor has he submitted anyone. Meanwhile, Glover will be upping the stakes with his second-degree black belt in BJJ, and if you've been following his career recently, he has put those black belt skills to use plenty. He currently lands 2.2 takedowns per 15 minutes, which is higher than the UFC average of 1.52. In fact, he has secured 11 takedowns in his last 3 fights, which is more than the 11 previous to that combined. So it is clear that Glover has found a new gear in his MMA career where he is more comfortable and more dominant, taking his opponents down to the mat and landing crush ground and pound before securing a submission win. However, his takedown accuracy is only 37%, so that's something that he still needs to work on. To land those 5 takedowns against Jiri Prochazka, Glover needed to have 17 attempts. That was one reason why he was so tired at the end of the fight. And Hill possesses a takedown defense of 65%, so it could prove tricky for Glover to actually get Hill down to the ground. But Thiago Santos, who isn't known for his grappling, did manage to take Hill down 6 times in their last fight, so there is some hope for Glover there. But primarily due to Glover's focus on the ground game and his ability to find and secure the submission, we'll give the grappling edge to him. But there are also other intangibles that can sway a fight big time, so stay locked in to see what those X factors are. The X factor. The X factor for Glover Teixeira has to be his experience. As we said before, he has more KO wins than Hill has fights. All in all, Glover has been fighting for over 2 decades, and has been fighting the best that this sport has to offer for the past 10 years. That is a whole lot of fight time, studying, and reps against talented fighters. Glover will look to use his experience by putting Hill in uncomfortable positions and poking holes in Hill's fighting style until he can find an advantage to exploit. While for Jamahal Hill, his X factor is also simple. Being 12 years younger than Glover, he will have several attributes and possess more power than Glover. All of these could play a big role in maintaining distance and catching Glover as he enters for a takedown. Now with the groundwork laid down, who will actually take the W and become the new UFC light heavyweight champ? Stay tuned to see. The prediction. Now, as the odds stand currently, Jamahal Hill is a small betting favorite at a -150, while Glover comes in with a +130 betting line. So it seems that the odds makers are betting on the fact that Father Time will catch Glover and also on Hill's punching power. Sweet Dreams is known for not wasting much time when he enters the Octagon, as he has slept many of his opponents in the very first round. Now, a veteran like Glover is unlikely to put himself in danger early on, but he might not have a choice in the matter, as Hill holds several athletic advantages over the old-timer. So if the fight ends early, it'll most likely be because of Sweet Dreams. While Glover will look to test Hill's gas tank, which did not look all too impressive in his last bout, along with that, Glover will take the fight to the ground and chip away at Hill's cardio, and will continue until he can secure a submission. So if Glover is to win, we reckon that comes later in the fight. Now if you enjoyed this video, then please give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Hit the little bell beside it so that you're notified the next time we upload a new video. And with that being said, you just watched us break down the upcoming light heavyweight title fight between Jamahal Hill versus Glover Teixeira. And we'll see you next time.